Morning everybody, it's Jacky from Pretty Paper Crafts. Firstly, I just want to say a real special thank you to those loyal subscribers that have stuck with me and are still with me. It's just reached over the 800 subscribers, which as I understand is very good for a relatively new YouTuber. So at least I'm heading in the right direction. Still not happy with my voice and still can't edit these videos, but hopefully help is coming on that front very shortly. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Now, bearing in mind that this is flat, it's very difficult for me to show you exactly how this sits because of the camera. But what I have done is I've taken some shots of the cards themselves at different angles, which I will add as a slideshow at the end, so you will get to see them. But this is what it basically is. It's again a concertina fold like that. The lower ones are showing lower item things and the top ones are normally things that are hanging. On this occasion it has got a central tree hanging because it's a Christmas tree, but I'll go into that more when we've made the basics up. So first of all, you need an 8x8 card, blank card, which you don't need just yet. You'll need that in a while, but not at the moment. We're going to do the concertina bits first. So for that you need ordinary copier paper, some sort of nice copier paper, and you're going to fold it in half and then cut it in half that way. So you've got two strips the length of a sheet, a standard copier paper sheet. So that's that. With these now, if you're going to do a fancy edge, now is the time to do that fancy edge before you score it. It's much easier to do it now than it is to do later. So you're going to want 1.5 pieces for top and 1.5 pieces for the bottom. So let's show you the next stage. The next stage is the scoring. Now I've done two different score widths. I've done 1 inch scored and 1/2 inch scored. Now this was the sample that I made up that I was working from, and I actually put the two in here because depending on what, like a butterfly card, you might have loads and loads of butterflies. You get more folds in the smaller one than you do the larger one, so it stands to reason you might want to use the smaller one. You might want to use a smaller one and a larger one at the bottom. But that's the options, that's the choices. I'll go into detail with that in a moment. So that's your scoring. You score 1 inch scores or 1/2 inch scores, whichever you want. You're going to need 1.5 lengths for each one. Top you're going to need 1.5 lengths, bottom you're going to need 1.5 lengths, and you just join them together. It's really easy to join them together. So you end up with something like this, and you cut that off, cut it down to the required length, and then you would just join that together like that. 1.5 times. Now the next stage is the card stage. I've used an 8x8 card, not necessary depending on what you're going to do. Now going back to this sample, this one I've used a butterfly die. I had a large cutting die for a butterfly And I actually drew around that and used that for it. Sort of makes it look like a theatre a bit more, just adds a little bit more decoration. But most people don't have that large die, so I've used just an ordinary, again the card, and I just used an ordinary big tea plate, and I drew around that tea plate with a pencil and then cut it round very carefully, so you were left with both front and back with this shape, or whichever shape you're going to be doing. Now this one I used as my sample, so it was always, I needed this shape for all. Now this one here was, this is actually a napkin, so I adhered the napkin to it, then put it through the embossing folder, in an embossing folder into the die cut machine, and it came out like that, which I was quite pleased with. And you can then do there, so really the choice is yours. You don't have to do plain old paper on there. You can be far more elaborate depending on what you've got, what your choices are, and what you want to achieve. Just use your sample, because you need one for the front. If you're doing it after, you need one for inside there. But you do need to, if you're going to be putting layers on, you do need to stick them on before you put these on. You can do it afterwards. It's very difficult to do it afterwards. It's far easier to put it on first before you put that on after, which I'll show you any minute now. So that is principally it on your concertina fold. And then it's just down to you to do whatever your choice is. And I'll show you on these 4 cards that I've done what I've done, and it will give you some idea on what your choices are. Going back to the Christmas one, I used a Christmas paper. Again, I covered it, Christmas paper inside, and I stuck it down before I put these down. I used the larger ones. I used the die cutouts with the acetate, held it up, and I've got this which is freestanding, but as I said, you can't see that at the moment, but you will be able to see that when you look at the pictures at the end. That's the writing area on the back there. Now the second one I done is a butterfly one. It just says spread your wings and fly. Again, I used a butterfly paper, but this is where I used that butterfly die, and I drew round the outside and then cut it out very carefully. I chose to do daisies at the bottom with just a couple of butterflies, and all butterflies at the top. Now I haven't done anything dangling on this one, because I just thought it ruined the effect of, you know, one meeting the other. So that's the butterfly one. And then this one brings into this one. Now this is a baby one. It's a new baby, girl or boy, it really doesn't matter. Lovely paper, lovely cutouts again. Now this one has got this hanging on the... Now this just drapes down, but again, you can't see that. You might be able to see that slightly, but you will see it on the slideshow at the end, because all these little bits of clothes and that are all just free hanging, with some coming up from the bottom, and it just says bundle of joy at the end. So that's the baby one. And last but not least is, this is one where I made the boo-boo. I didn't allow enough paper to have both all across the inside and across the front. So I actually had a join there and put this gold die cut butterfly one going across there, and just stuck these little bits on or near it, so that it worked out okay. It's just a little ballerina dance. This one has got a little ballerina. You're not going to see that one this time because this is a little bit further back than the edge on here. So but again, it's just got the little ballerina and all these little bits stuck around. I didn't put any gems on the front, middle here, because it had all these little gold rods, and everything just folds flat and it just fits in it. I think it's 8x6 envelope, or is it 8x7? 8x7, yeah, because it's an 8x8 card. Yep, so 8x7. So that's it. That's the 4 cards. That's today's new fold. Sorry it took longer than I thought it would take. And I've got another About Me tutorial going up sometime later as well. But in the meantime, happy crafting. Thank you. Bye bye.